How do you visualize typography? So you might have seen some other videos on typography where they talk about how to use the right fonts, how to use the right widths between each letters, how to use the right line heights to make these easier to read. So there's a difference between reading and visualizing typography, and that's what we're going to talk about in today's video, about visualizing a certain quote or just one word. So these are some examples on how to visualize type, and I found all of these on Pinterest. And if you want to create type just like this, there's a certain way of thinking, and I'm going to show you my thinking process, and we're going to visualize some words and some quote in today's video. So let's just go through some of these examples here. So here's one that says volume, and each letter just gets bigger as it gets to the end of the word. And here's another one that says try again. All they did is just took the G and turned it upside down, and it looks like the try again icon. So just something simple like this just visualizes the quote. So we're going to start by visualizing some quotes. So these are just some quotes that I found online, and I'm going to pick some of these randomly and we're going to visualize them, and I'm going to show you my entire thinking process. So let's start with this quote here. Minimalism is an appreciation of space. So you can see I've already written down the idea for this quote. So I'm just going to copy this quote and I'm going to take it into Photoshop, and let's just paste it in, and let's make this font a little bit smaller, just about that size, and I'm going to place it right on the center. So the first thing I look for is just a single word. So how can I visualize minimalism, and how can I visualize space? And I have to visualize the entire quote together. So the first thing that comes to mind when I say when I think of minimalism is a minimal font. So I have a minimal font here like Roboto or Inter. So Inter is a font that I use, that I'm starting to use quite often now. And they have an option here called extra light. So that makes it really thin, but it's still readable. So let's just make that a little bit bigger, maybe about that size there, and hit enter. And right here, when space, I might hit space on that just like this and leave a big space just like this. So when I think of space, I think of white space like this. And I could leave this right at the bottom. And on top of that, I could actually increase the space between each letters on the word space. So let's try that out and see what that looks like. So that is an appreciation of space. So let's see what that looks like. So now that's a quote that is visualized, but you still have to make it easier to read. So I think this is a bit too far apart. So what I could do here is I could just push this back together, maybe just to the point where it's actually readable. And what I could do here is just put this on another line, maybe about here, and just make the word minimalism a little bit bigger, maybe about this size, and just align all of these together with the word space at the bottom. So I can make this just about this size here. I'm going to hit space one more time here, whoops, and I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, so just about the size of the word minimalism. And let's also increase the line height just a little bit there and hit enter. Oops, there we go. So there we go. So minimalism is an appreciation of space. So I think that looks pretty good there. We just visualized this quote. So let's visualize one more quote, and then we'll get to visualizing individual words. So I've got this quote here: don't be busy, be productive. So I'm going to take this quote, and just like before, I'm going to try to think of how to visualize individual words first, and then how to visualize the entire quote together. So let's just hide this quote first, and let's paste in the quote into Photoshop, and let's make it a little bit smaller, and let's just place that right in the center right here. So I'm going to move this on a different line, and I'm just going to say, how do you think of how to visualize busy? So you can put in scribbly lines, or maybe I could put in different fonts for each of these letters on busy. So maybe some of these could be uppercase, like the U could be an uppercase, and maybe the Y could be also be an uppercase. So that already looks quite busy, but I could change it to a different font on the B. Maybe for the B, I'll make it this font, and maybe even make it italic. There we go. And maybe for the U, I could make it bold. And for the S, I could try maybe like a handwritten font, maybe something like that there, but that's kind of hard to read, so I can make that a little bit bigger. So busy, I actually think that's a bit too hard to read, so actually that actually looks pretty good. So don't be busy, so that looks quite hard to read because it is busy. It is exactly what the word is saying, and I might even take out the full stop there as well. So don't be busy, and I'm going to make this, maybe put that on a different line and make it a little bit bigger. Actually, I'm going to copy this and just hit backspace, and I'll put in another text layer and paste that in, and I'll resize that just to the bottom of don't be busy. So it actually just makes it easier to resize them all together. So maybe just there. Yep. So don't be busy. And right underneath we'll have be productive. Oops. Let me just do that again. So let me just copy this again. So I'm going to push this in, copy this, and let's put this on a new text layer. So be productive, and let's make this a little bit smaller as well. And for productive, how can I visualize productive? So it should be the opposite of this. So for this, I'm just going to make all of this in uppercase. So productive, and I'll also put this on a new line, and I'm going to keep them all in the same style, but I'll make them all bold. So it says don't be busy, be productive. So that's one way of visualizing the quote. Another way I was thinking also was to visualize them just through maybe icons. So busy could be something like a squiggly line. So I could just take a black color here, and for busy I could have just written out something like scribbly lines like this. Maybe I can make that a little bit smaller, something like this, and I can make some squiggly lines. And for productive, I could also take a shape. So let me take a rectangular tool here, and I'll make it the stroke maybe 10 pixels thick, and I'll just draw a square, so that looks more productive. Let me just make that a little bit thicker. There we go. So it says don't be busy, be productive. So I am kind of breaking the rules here, because usually with quotes I don't add icons or anything. I don't add any images. I usually just try to use the words alone, but you can break the rules just to make the quote easier to understand. So you can play around with the different layouts, see which one works better, and see which one is actually easier to read. As long as people can just easily read it on first glance, then you've kind of achieved your goal. So it says don't be busy, be productive. So now let's visualize some individual words. So this is quite different to visualizing quotes. So if you look at these examples right here, they've manipulated the individual letters and the fonts quite a bit to visualize that individual word. So that's what we need to do with these words right here. So this is a website called Random Word Generator. So I just click on this and it comes up with a new word. So let's try to generate some of these words right here. So belief, maybe apology, solid. So I think that's a good one right here. So I'm going to kind of think out loud here. So how do I visualize the word solid? So when I think of solid, I think of like a cube. It's rock hard. It's so already cube could be this O right here. So I'm going to take this and copy this, and let's go into Photoshop and let's paste it in. And I'm going to make this a little bit smaller, and let's put that in right here. So what I'm going to do is get rid of this O and leave some space in there. The first thing that came to my mind when I thought of the word solid is a cube or a rock. So both of those things are well put together and they're not fragile. So then I looked at the word O. So the word O is kind of the same shape as a rock, or could even be the same shape of a cube. So just use the first thing that comes to your mind and make that relatable with the word. So don't overthink it, just use the first thing that comes to your mind. So a cube. So let's go into this website called flaticon.com, and I'm just going to search up some free icons of cubes. So let's just use a simple one, something like this one here. maybe they have yeah, maybe something like this one here. So I'm just going to download this. So this is a great website to download some free icons. It's called flaticon.com. So I'm going to push that into Photoshop and let's make it a little bit smaller. And already that looks quite good. So solid. So that almost kind of looks like an O, like kind of like a interesting shape. It's got, you can still tell that it's a cube and also still read the word at the same time. So solid. So that's one done. You could also try maybe a rock in there if you wanted to. You can maybe even try the shape of the D if you wanted to, and maybe even try them all in uppercase as well. That might also work really well with this word. So the process of my thinking is to take the first thing that comes to my mind. In this case, it was a cube, and then take that thing and make it related to the word. So either the shape of the word or the shape of the individual letters. So in this case, it was the shape of the O. So let's do one more word. So I came up with this word right here, join. So the first thing that came to my mind is these two letters, the J and the I, and it kind of looks like two people. So first thing I was thinking of is these two people kind of joining together. I could put a line between the two heads right here, which are the two dots at the top. And then what I thought is it could be this J kind of looked like someone kneeling. So what I thought is this could be someone proposing to this I. So this could be the guy and this could be the woman, and I could just kind of manipulate this word into that, and the O could be the ring. So what I'm going to do is just speed up the video and try to manipulate this into what I just thought of. So I came up with two options right here. First one is the word join with a guy proposing to a girl, and the O is the ring. So I looked at that and I thought it's kind of hard to read, and it's I've kind of put in this extra line right here in a different color, which is kind of breaking the rules, because when I put it in black, it kind of looked like another letter, some other random letter. So I had to kind of take that black out and just leave it in gray. So I am kind of breaking the rules here, which made it a little bit hard to read, but it's still kind of good, I think. So I still kept that one here. The other one is a lot more simple, which is just simply joining the two lines together, and the two circles together. So that immediately communicates what the word is saying. So it's really up to you which one you want to go with. It's depending on what your goals are and what the what you want to achieve with your design. So if you have any questions, you can comment down below and I'll reply to you as soon as I can. If you haven't subscribed already, make sure you do, because I come out with videos like this daily, and I'll see you in the next video.